Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Well, apparently the stock market is watching the election, and there's a various number of reasons why that the gold price is up 1% and the stock market is up 575 points as of the recording of this video.
Let's explore!
Yes, indeed. This article comes to us from Kitco, and we see both gold and silver are up. We'll explore those prices more in detail here momentarily. Let's take a look and see what this article is talking about here. Gold was up 1% gain as U.S. election day was well underway on Tuesday with weaker U.S. dollar and higher stocks helping the precious metal get above $1,900 an ounce. We've seen this story before with a weaker dollar and a excited market, bringing gold and the market up. December COMEX gold futures were last at $1,911.20, up 0.99% on the day after reaching a daily high of $1,910 an ounce. In the meantime, the U.S. dollar index was at 94.03. up 0.16% on the day, and the Dow was up nearly 600 points. A somewhat weaker U.S. dollar is lending a tailwind, said Commerce Bank analyst Karsten Fritsch. The key event today is without a doubt the U.S. election. Apart from deciding who will be the next president, the entire House of Representatives and a third of the seats in the U.S. Senate are also up for election or re-election. As Democratic candidate Joe Biden maintains his lead in the polls, the markets are carefully watching the swing states, which is how U.S. President Donald Trump won the election in 2016, some of those by narrow margins, if you remember. According to the latest nationwide polls, the challenger Biden is still well ahead of the current officeholder Trump. Biden is also leading in the polls in most of the swing states, Fritsch said. This does not necessarily mean all that much, however, as we saw 4 years ago. At the time, Clinton had a sizable lead in the polls, but lost out to Trump on electoral votes because Trump was just able to make the most of the swing states. Make no mistake, Trump has worked harder in those states with 14 rallies in the past 2 days. I've watched most all of them. On top of the regular election jitters, markets are not certain the election results will be announced Wednesday morning. In fact, probably likely not after a Supreme Court ruling with what happened in Pennsylvania. Counting is likely to take longer because of the unusually high number of postal votes. In the event of a tight outcome, this could delay a decision on who has won key states such as Florida, Pennsylvania, or Ohio, noted Fritsch on Tuesday. More than 95 million Americans voted before the election day, which could delay results as all the mail-in ballots are being counted, said Bannockburn Global Fairx chief market strategist Mark Chandler. Many observers warn of a cliffhanger that could be decided on in the courts. The polls and surveys show strong odds in favor of a Democratic sweep, Chandler wrote on Tuesday. Delayed results, contested results, or a prematurely declared victory could create more chaos in the markets. In fact, I've heard that President Donald Trump said he's not going to prematurely declare victory here until the definitive result comes in. That's the latest breaking news. Whether or not gold can benefit from this will depend on the U.S. dollar, Fritsch added. In the U.S. Congress, congressional elections, a decisive issue will be whether the Democrats succeed in obtaining a majority in both chambers. If so, they could set in motion a substantial stimulus package. The resulting significant increase in national debt would lend buoyancy to gold in the coming weeks and months. However, it is unlikely that gold will come under noticeable pressure, as it did after the elections 4 years ago, when gold plunged by more than 13% in the 6 weeks after the election, Fritsch described. BBH Global Currency Strategy also warned of a possibility of delayed results given the amount of mail-in ballots due to coronavirus pandemic. Results may not be known for several days, if not weeks, BBH strategist said. The best case scenario for the markets is a unified government with a blue wave preferable to a red wave due to a higher probability of aggressive fiscal stimulus. In other words, that is going to be bullish for gold. But make no mistake, even if you get a red wave, there will be a still stimulus that will just be less. A split our government with Democratic president and Republican Senate or vice versa would suggest continued deadlock and low probability of meaningful fiscal stimulus. That said, we would think the absolute worst outcome is a contested election in which the results are not known for weeks and is ultimately decided by the courts. And make no mistake, there will be riots in the streets, and that's unfortunate. I have to say that with some level of certainty. If this is undecided, people should remain calm. They should remain calm no matter who wins the election. Markets hate uncertainty, and this is the most uncertain outcome of them all. And that is really the thing. What it really boils down to is the uncertainty of what's to come. I remember an example of this when we had a Sunday night market watch. For those who aren't familiar, I do a market watch live stream of the markets as they open up in Asia at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we saw the retaliation bombing of some Saudi Arabian oil fields by Iran. And that created a pretty big jump in precious metal prices because of the uncertainty. And the markets too. Markets took a hit as well. So very, very interesting. And of course, an election of this magnitude and it being drawn out for days and potentially weeks on end is something that is very much nerve-wracking and will cause probably gold to go up, maybe a fair amount, and the markets to be in turmoil for a while. We'll see what happens, especially if there's violence related to it. So here we have the gold, silver prices. All the metals are up, save for rhodium. It's kind of flat there, but gold is up to $1,908.50. That's a very important number, 1908, because that happens to be the last year that we had this much turnout in a presidential election. We may even surpass 1908's turnout compared to total population there. It's up $11.70, up 0.62% now. Again, it was up over 1% earlier, but it's kind of dipped down a little bit there. Silver's up a quarter of a point, up 6 cents to over $24 now, $24.24. And platinum made the biggest move of the three metals, up $11, a 1.29% increase. And palladium made between all four of the metals, palladium is king, up $73. Pretty amazing that's holding on to these record numbers for so long there, palladium. And what a metal. I've always thought it was overvalued. It's maintaining its value now. I tell you what, it's crazy. For as long as it's been up this high, it's pretty substantial, pretty impressive. But nonetheless, the two metals we mostly are concerned about is gold and silver, and they are reacting on the news with the dollar being subdued a bit with the dollar index. And where the markets go, it's going to be an interesting election night here. And if you are watching this video, just a little announcement, I'm going to be doing a live stream at my normal time. We may do some very preliminary election watching, so to speak, but I'm not going to be on well into the night with it, but we may catch the very beginning of it as the markets or the polls start to close in some of these states and see what kind of news it may trickle in. So we'll see how that plays out. But otherwise, there's your news for the day on the markets. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch and encourage you to please rate. Yes, thumb up this video if you don't mind. It does help get the word out there. Share. That's another way to help get the word out there. Share it on all the social media platforms out there that exist in the world today, maybe even universe. You might even be able to find an interplanetary social media source from which you can share, comment, and after all of that is said and done, and only after that, yes, subscribe if you haven't done so already. It would warm my heart. Indeed. All right. Take care.
May the best candidate win.